Hey, back. Welcome, dear YouTube viewers. I am Xnick, casting another game with our MELD deck that is trying to. Oh, I don't want to delete this. Is trying to meld all possible cards in the game. So let's refresh quickly. Those are graph rats that is going to meld together with midnight scavengers into shittering hosts. Also, we have Hungary garrison that melts into the Griffin township next to by the use of the Hungary battlements, and also the Angel Sisters Bruna that melts into Brisela with his sister, and her sister, sorry, is here, Gisela the Broken Blade. So the deck is running a lot of decoys to force the opponent to deal with lots of threats that are not our meld creatures. And the last time I tried the deck, there was a hard time because I'm running a lot of double black spells. I mean, there is double black in the mana cost of the spell, and I think that I was not running the proper amount of lands to play those cards. Of course, the luck is a key factor if you want to play your cards on time. So let's see how this develops. The main objective is to have fun, of course, that is always the case. The second most important objective is to meld all three possibilities in a single game, and of course our last objective could be to win if possible. So let's go ahead. We drop a smaller marsh, black and red. That lets us play the Sanitarium Skeleton next turn. Molten Vortex. The opponent can pay 1 red and discard a land to hit for 2. And I'm going to start preparing the board. Sanitarium Skeleton is becoming. I'm getting fond of this card because you can never really say goodbye to him. If the opponent kills this one, it's going to show later in our hand and we can play him again. So I think we can go for a plains. We are running now a single Emeria Shepherd deck, not so many plains, because that's kind of the late game, and well, it's certainly a very nice effect, the landfall from the Emeria Shepherd. See the opponent, red and blue. Perhaps this is a milling deck. The opponent might be trying to draw a lot of cards, and then he's going to want to discard his cards and do some damage. So here, let's play plains and attack with the skeleton. While I was speaking, I missed the chance to fetch for land, and now we are only on 1 mana available. I could drop the Mortuary Mire that gives us the chance of playing 4 next turn. I think it's not that bad. With 4 mana, we can drop the Hungry Garrison and activate Bone Splinters. Play Bone Splinters to kill something, such as the Jory Ruin Diver, and this lets the opponent draw too much. So let's think what to do. Alright, let's Bone Splinters this guy. Now, a Hungry Garrison here is going to get a powerful hit from the opponent, but if the opponent is going to mill us, I think that sooner or later we are going to get necromantic summons going on, so if opponent kills the garrison, there's a fair chance to get it back sometime in the future, and we have another copy of this guy. And Scary Mercurial Geist, whenever the opponent casts an instant or sorcery, Mercurial Geist is going to win 3+0 until end of turn. And alright, I'm going to suppression bomb this scary looking creature. Now is out of combat. The opponent paused to see what was going on. Now we hit for 4 in the face. This guy is very powerful. For 3 mana you get spamming tokens on each turn. This guy alone is very nice, and this could meld potentially in this other horrifying creature 7/4 with trample and haste, and spawns 3/2 colorless Eldrazi tokens. Now the opponent is going to give us a hand, quite figuratively and literally, letting us draw more cards. So we kind of need to play, if we do not want to get hit for 2 each turn, we have to play as many cards as possible. So this is good. Now we can melt our first creature of the game, but we get short on, if the opponent, well, we're going to be left with less mana, but I think we are going to receive plenty of mana later on thanks to the favorite visions, and now we are drastically hitting the opponent for 7 plus 6 plus 2. That's, well, that's little damage in the hands of the township. So the difficult part of my quest, of my challenge, is that if assume you get to meld 2 of the targets that we want to, by that time the chances of the game continuing are quite low. If we already melted 2 times, we are or either about to win or about to lose. There is quite, I think there is not midpoint, because melting 2 creatures gives you so much power. It's hard to imagine a situation, some scenario where you already did that twice and the game is not about to finish, but we can hope. So here a nice hand, the Gaia Reach is going to let us discard Bruna, that we are going to somehow fetch from our graveyard. Also Cryptbreaker is also lets us discard, and we get a zombie, and with 3 zombies we can draw by paying 1 life and tapping. That's kind of cool. This guy has menace, and we appear to be facing a vampire deck. The vampires are scary and very powerful, so let's think. If we hit, alright, I'm going to skip, and if the opponent attacks with the neonate is 1 point of damage, of course he can pump up this one and become very powerful, but we can spam zombie tokens out of the Cryptbreaker. Opponent attacks, that's okay, skip blocking. Our Bruna is going to be waiting for us in the graveyard, and we get a 2/2 token. So I don't think this is a vampire deck, but looks like a very aggro red deck. So we could play the Crypt Breaker here and try to kill one of the creatures of the opponent, provided the opponent does not kill ours first, and draw a card. We pay 1 life against red. You do not want to pay much life. So green with the red vampire, well, it's a very strange looking deck that our opponent is using. So he drew a mountain and dropped 1 into the graveyard. This is forced to attack, and okay, we could kill the neonate, or we could try to kill the mainframe bully. I think preventing damage is going to be good for us. Let's stop. Let's see. Now we are going to rush of adrenaline, and we are going to tap, tap. Come, wait! Ah, that is too silly. So the game didn't let me activate this option. That is very bad manners from the part of the game. We might lose because of that. Alright. Let's drop Gisela. If Gisela survives, it's going to be good. First strike, lifelink. So let's skip the attack. We should have this declaration in stone. We should already have in our hand by the time we got into our draw phase. But the game is acting and did not let me use the ability that I wanted. So here comes Chandra, the Measuring Volley attacking. The opponent might run some pump up, Lightning Axe, killing Gisela. So the question, I think I'm going to take damage since now the opponent has only 1 card remaining. So Declaration in stone is going to give him a token, a clue token. So let's first activate this guy. We are going to draw and see what we find. The Knight of the White Orchid, and we discard our swamp. Yes, discard the swamp. And Declaration in stone towards the Measuring Volley. That is actually more dangerous than the Chandra, since the opponent is not going to have an easy time flipping Chandra, and even if he does, it is the Measuring Volley is more dangerous than Chandra. Obsessive Skinner. Interesting combination. Now Chandra. Alright, I think I should block this because we are not. This guy is going to be placing counters on his creatures. So let's see what happens next. Necromantic summons. We could get Bruna or Gisela, but if we get Bruna, right, we cannot. Her ability is not going to trigger, so Gisela it is, so we at least get lifelink out of the deal. The opponent probably going to spend the turn using clue. Now he has 2 cards. We have Gisela. If we meld Gisela with Bruna, that's going to be very good, because I think the opponent is running low cost cards, and the angry side of this means the opponent can't cast spells with converted mana cost 3 or less. So here this is going to turn, but I don't think it's such a wise idea to turn Chandra. Wait. Well, apparently. No, we are not still. Right, let's see the attacks here. This is coming. Alright. I think we better block here. I think this is, of course, very dangerous. But let's see. I think the opponent has not understood what first strike means, unless he has another pump up. This is going to die, but well, with green, a single green can give this one. He needs 3 more toughness to survive. Okay. There was no much point into spending Titan Strength there. I think the opponent did not realize what happened. And now we can assume that we are pretty safe here. Now let's attack. First of all, get some life. Knight of the Wild Orchid, and we are going to save the plains, or well, we are kind of very tight on our mana, but we, other than that, we do not have anything. Lightning Axe against Zela. So let's stop the timer and let's see what we drew into. Just cause Needle Spires are a bit slow, but might help us in the long term if we survive enough. Now this is forced to block to attack, I mean, and next turn we can hit Chandra with the Knight, and the opponent is going to block with the Neonate. Our life total is dropping steadily, but the opponent has no longer cards in hand, and of Nixilis we are missing 1 black. 1 black! Oh my god. But still kind of decent. Attack here. Probably no. Alright. Now we need, I think, Needle Spires, and that's it. We could. I'm not sure if that's the best option for us, because other choice could be to activate Gaia Reach to find something better. I'm going to activate this. That might kill us if the opponent draws an instant. We have the Emeria Shepherd, that's nice. But what to do here? we are closer to cast of Nixlis than Maria Shepherd. Titan's Strength, and we die out of the Gaia Reach, probably. But the most damaging part of the game was that time when we did not get the activation of the zombie and we missed one drop. We could have gotten into Mary Shepherd one turn earlier, and life could have been much different if we're not but that very small mistake that the game decided to make. So let's go ahead again. But on the other hand, of course, it was a bit reckless to the plays that I did by the end. But I think that if I did not take the risks, the game was most likely to be over really soon, despite my best efforts. So it's a little small chance to win, or not chance to win at all. Let's see if we get a better starting here. Now, what is this going to be? Might be about some blue and black combination. We are going to be finding out soon. Now, this starting hand is missing some red, but otherwise we have the Sanitarium Bone Splinters combo plus the Avacyn Archangel. It's not bad. Rough Rats is good too. White and green for the opponent. So I'm starting to imagine that the opponent is running Planeswalker's deck. Let's get our swamp, so we make sure that we are going to be able to cast either one of these two next turn. See, another green. So far nothing too spectacular here. Let's get the Graph Rats out. This is more damage from the start, twice as much as the skeleton, but since we have a single black, maybe it was better to play the Sanitarium Skeleton first, so we can Bone Splinters. Now, I think this is an emerge deck by the looks of this. The opponent can look his top 4 cards and pick a creature and put that in his hand. It was the Spell Queller. This guy is able to eat our spells. Still no black for us or red, so let's attack first. See, I do not think the opponent is willing to trade, but perhaps he does. Let's see. Well, goodbye both creatures. And now we have the Sanitarium Skeleton out. Sorry guys, some disconnection has occurred. I think it was me, but now we are fighting against an AI, and I don't think an AI is going to be doing interesting choices out of the deck of a player. So possibly not too amusing to see this match. Let's see. Apparently the transmission is going on still. Let's check YouTube. Alright. on, streaming is happening. Alright. Well, kind of sad state of affairs. Now let's continue. We can bring back the skeleton to our hand, but we are going to wait to see what the opponent plays first. It's the tireless tracker, and follow up from a land, of course. And that's it. We are recovering the center skeleton. Sorry. Now let's play the Hunger Battlements, and let's see if the opponent attacks with the Tracker. We ambush with the Archangel Avacyn, and we are going to be quite happy about that. But the opponent did not attack. No, it was my turn. So, another clue, another draw, another counter on the Tireless Tracker. Here comes the attack. The opponent might have a number of tap cards. We might get our Avacyn tapped down or reprisal it before the indestructible comes into play. So now we are getting close to cast our Bruna, and Bruna lets us bring back the Archangel Avacyn to our battlefield. It is very sweet. And we can block with the skeleton for ages. We are missing one land to being able to cast Bruna. A second Tireless Tracker. This is going to hurt. Let's see, the opponent is going to play more lands, possibly Planeswalkers out of this. I am pretty sure the opponent runs more than one Planeswalker with these colors. So the attack comes, and of course we block. And hi, have I met you before? Here comes the Sanitarium, returns to the hand as he should, and we get the Cultic Bloodline. This is going to actually be sweet to present blockers for the opponent. Spell Queller. Damn it. Alright. Well, still we get the skeleton out. And continue. The opponent can crack 2 clues. This is going to be 7-6. This is 5-4. Well, come on. Pretty typical deck, I guess. The only thing that throws me off is the avatar that the opponent has chosen to use. Now 2 in the air, 10 in the ground. We can possibly block 6. Now this is going to be even more problematic. Now triple activation of the clues. Imprisoned in the moon. So I think the opponent has a little damage. So we are going to concede here because that's just an AI that is playing. So let's try to finish one match against one human player. and in the process trying to meld our cards. Let's go, come on, let's go. Perhaps having the Amaria Shepherd is too expensive, but we are already running very expensive cards here. So the plus side from the Amaria Shepherd is very big. Now, no black, only 2 lands. Now this is better looking. We might get into Liliana's terrain soon. And having the opponent discard cards works in our favor unless he's playing zombies, but it seems to be Eldrazi. Eldrazi are coming. So we get the Graph Rats. And let's see what the opponent does here. He can pump up the Sludge Crawler, but that is not going to save it from the Graph Rats block. So no place. Now I think I'm going to play another Graph Rats just in case. We could drop Liliana, but I think the opponent might exile Liliana if we play her just like that. So the trade is accepted. So apparently our opponent has seen that this one is not going to ingest anytime soon. Foul Emissary. This looks quite similar to the technique we just fought. Deathcap Cultivator. So that was his best creature out of the top 4 in the library. Now I think I'm going with Shambling Vents plus Liliana, and let's see if now the opponent wants to block. I hardly doubt that the opponent wants to trade here, because that will flip our Liliana, and the opponent is, maybe he can emerge. Yes, the abundant maw. This guy is going to make us lose 3, the opponent gains 3, and is left with a 6-4 and a 3-2 on the battlefield. Now we have our own Eldrazi abominations of our own that we might want to play, such as the Midnight Scavengers. This is interesting. We could also start dropping vampires. Midnight Scavengers, we can get back the rats to our hands. Let's get them. Yes, yes we want. Now we are giving, this one has now menace, and we could attack with Liliana, is 3 life for sure, but the opponent might double block, and I think it's not so profitable for us to do so. The opponent takes 5. Now let's see how the opponent deals with our board. He might as well swing with his 6-4 and the 3-2. He plays this before combat. I think it's not a wise choice, but alright, he attacks. We take 9. Let's keep blocking. Lone Rider. Let's see. I think we could get a nice Lone Rider on flipping. Let's Shambling Bend like that. We attack with all our creatures. Even the opponent might even kill Liliana, perhaps somehow, but he cannot block the Chittering Hosts. We gain 4 out of this. So, and now we can play the Lone Rider that is going to flip. Now, if the opponent gets this out of the way, he kills us with his creatures. So he has, I know, he's 1 short. He has 11 damage on board. Well, he had to. Oh, he killed the. Alright, that was quite interesting because I think this is when it's more problematic. Let's see what the opponent chooses to do now. Let's see. Well, Liliana is dead for sure or not. Let's try to save Liliana and see if the opponent has a trick, but apparently not. And we are now at 16 thanks to the Lone Rider, or I should say it that rides as 1. Now a second Shambling Bands, we can bring back a creature from graveyard. Let's force the opponent to discard something. Let's see what he throws away. Okay. And it's going to be... Wow, the Gitrot monster. That's nice to see going away. Now we can attack with the Shambling Band, so we are with a pretty decent amount of health, but maybe it is better to left this one on defense. I think also the opponent might run away if we hit him too hard. So Shambling Bend and call the Bloodline. Of course we could, maybe we should leave a card on hand to activate call the Bloodline. But Liliana is going to make us discard anyways. So the opponent did tap the Death Cultivator in order to play his Liliana, and well, Little Spires is our single red in this match, so I think I'm going to be playing this, forcing the opponent to discard this card, please. Now, wow, pretty expensive cards from the opponent. Now another activation from the Shambling Bands, and we are going to attack this guy and this. That makes our Liliana a bit weaker, but the opponent is going to lose. I mean, he has to hit here, so we lose Liliana. I think this is not the best way to attack this turn. I did. It's not so good to do that in this order, because now the opponent can hit Liliana for 4, and we get our opponent at 3. On the other hand, we have 3 man lands plus a it that rides as 1. from beyond is going to not save the opponent, and if he attacks he's dead for sure. But what is this? Ever after? Well, I was going to return the midnight scavengers from the graveyard, but ever after is better after all. So we grab our two nice creatures that meld. Yes, we want to use the ability, and we proceed to attack, and this guy giving menace to this. We have our victory under our belt, but we could not meld as so many creatures as we wanted to. No, you cannot block like that, I'm sorry. And this has trample and first strike. No, that is just so silly. But well, you got your Liliana there or not? Alright. Well, kind of interesting and amusing game, but we are not getting the melding that we want. But at least we're getting our fund out of this. So I'm going to give, for the time being, I have to go, but later on we might return to our MELD deck. So I'll be seeing you. I hope you have enjoyed as myself, and don't forget to leave your comments, and see you soon. Sayonara!